All right. We're going a little early at this because I'm tired of waiting. And it is a snowy, cold night here in Montana. And so that's always makes for a good time to do a live stream. Is anybody out there? Are we live yet? It might still be cycling through the...
I've got it on my second screen, and it looks like we're live.
Mine's still showing the countdown.
Oh, really?
Oh, there it goes. All right, sweet. Hey, Salmon Outdoors is here. How's it going, Devin? Tangent Trails is here. How you doing tonight? So it looks like we got a few people in the show tonight. Awesome. Good to see. Winter camping in negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit. That is nuts, good sir. Like that's hardcore. I cap it off at like well above zero. Wow, Tucson, Arizona. I have been to Tucson. My dad snowbirded there for a year or two, and I've been down there visited. I had some really good steak in Tucson. So welcome to everybody. Hey Doc, how's it going? Oh yeah, sorry Doc. I'm not playing by the rules tonight. I am super tired and just kind of we couldn't make any more small talk, so I'm like, there's people waiting. Let's go for it. So, all right. Well, welcome everyone, and welcome Hot Pants. How are you doing this evening?
Doing great.
Doing
Good
all right.
To be here. Excited to talk about everything about the trip.
Yeah. So it's official now. We put it out there in the zeitgeist. You know, I decided that for me, the best thing to do was to kind of throw it out there, and the more real it is and the more people that know about it, the less I will be likely to change my mind. So
we're going through no matter what, I think.
Yeah, no, I think
Rain,
you know,
sleet, snow, everything.
Yeah, it could be all of those of the above. The Beartooth. So yeah, the big thing is we have begun putting our logistics in place, and we have selected the dates of the trip, which are not in front of me right now. So we're going in mid-July, right?
Yep. That's the plan.
Yes. So the plan is we are going to head out in mid-July. Our time frame is 12 to 14 days, and the trip is going to be 154 miles as it currently sits. And we are going to start just outside of Livingston, Montana, and we're going to hike down into Cook City, Montana, as kind of our halfway point. And then after that, we are going to head over to Red Lodge, Montana to finish up and hopefully get some good food and see how many of our friends we can gross out with how stinky we are by then.
Yes.
So as I have said, I'm not releasing the exact route yet. I know that's probably making a few people upset, but I just don't want to do that too early. Although I have shared it with a few select people. And the one thing that everybody reminds me of is that we are going to be climbing more elevation than we would if we were to climb up from Mount Everest. Any thoughts on that?
I need to make sure my cardio is in order by the time we go, because I'm sure not just my glutes, but my lungs are going to be screaming at me.
Yeah, no, it is going to be rough. So we will definitely talk a little bit about that preparation work too, because I am definitely involved in that. I'm way out of shape right now, even though I ran a half marathon in September. It's been all downhill since then. So we got a few more people chiming in here. We got Tiff is here. Hi, how's it going tonight? Let's see here. Where else we got? Hiking with Jackie Boy. Thanks for saying hi. How's it going tonight? And everybody else is just kind of saying hi to everybody. And I really suck at doing this live, so apologize. So yeah, like I said, we just got on and wanted to talk a little bit about where we're at. So again, we selected the dates, and we've also managed to get our hotel reservation. As I said, we're staying at a hotel in Cook City. The reason we're staying in the hotel in Cook City is a couple different reasons. The biggest one being that you can't camp there And the reason you can't camp there is because a grizzly bear killed somebody in a campground there, and you have to be hard-sided in order to stay there. So that seems like a pretty good reason to me to spend a little bit of money on a hotel room. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah. Not something I'm willing to risk. I'm happy to do it, in the deep backcountry where we're the only ones around and we take all the proper precautions and, we're as bear aware as possible.
Yes.
But in those big campgrounds where you're not sure what your neighbor's doing and someone who's not accustomed to those backcountry things, you never know what could happen. And
yes, the tourists show up and they don't follow the bear safety guidelines, and then somebody else pays the price, or whatever. It's an unfortunate situation that happened, but it was good motivation for us to kind of do that. And of course, the other thing is that by this point in the trail, we'll be about 100 miles in, and I don't know about you, but the idea of having a shower, clean clothes, and some good food, including a burger and a beer, just sounds like it's probably going to be the only thing that's going to keep us going.
I'm already looking forward to that. Yeah.
Right? Yes. I'm already thinking about all the places we can go for food. Cook City's not that big. It's not that hard to do. And because of that, we're doing a resupply in Cook City, and part of my resupply for Cook City is going to include packing a packet of detergent so that we can wash our clothes at the hotel. Although I'm not sure, it depends on how I feel about it, because if they're really crusty, probably will. I do remember the last time I did a trip where we did the Cook City kind of stay. We didn't think we were going to do the clean the clothes, but when we did, we were really grateful that we did. So maybe that's not hiker trash enough of me. I'm sure some people will probably call me out on it. But you know what? If we have the opportunity, why wouldn't we do it?
Yeah. It's going to take a lot for me at that point, I think, to not want to wash my clothes.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. So we got some good comments in here. Salmon Outdoors. Yeah, I choose life. Laugh out loud. Yes, 100%. Our goal is to actually finish this. Although I do have to admit the irony of, we're concerned about this one particular thing. And meanwhile, the rest of it, we will be in tents in the backcountry. But as we said, it's probably less likely of an interface there, especially with Hot Pants is snoring, which is not a lie because he doesn't snore at all. He's the quietest person ever. I always remark, like, I will wake up and I will hear nothing, and I will very quietly pack everything up inside my tent, thinking that I'm going to be the first one out. And I will get out, and he's already there on his phone playing a game. His tent's already down, and there was no noise made. And I still to this day have no idea how he does it. So
for as big as I am, it's quite the feat. That's for sure.
All right. So let's see. Doc Watson, don't want to be a bear burrito in your sleep system. No, that is definitely low on my goals. My goal is to not be a Taco Bell run for a bear in the backcountry. And Salmon Outdoors followed up with saying it's a big problem here in Banff. I could only imagine. People are idiots. Yes. It is unfortunate that does happen, and it is certainly a thing. I will remember the time that Connor and I were coming out of getting ready to go up to Sundance Pass, and we ran into some people going the opposite way, and they told us to be careful. There was a black bear in the campsite that we were going to camp the next night, and they said, "Oh yeah, it got into our bear bag," and it was followed up by the other person saying, "Yeah, we probably didn't hang it that well."
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah. Clearly you didn't hang it up well enough if it got into it.
Exactly. Yeah. Huck Outdoors, how's it going tonight? Thanks for joining in. Everybody else just saying hi to him. So yeah, so we got that, and that was an interesting experience getting the hotel reservation. I will admit as well, because I did it back in December, and I thought to myself, if I make it before the beginning of the year, I should be okay. And I went to do the reservation, and in July, there were only 2 nights still available at this hotel. And one of them, by a minor miracle, was the night that we were going to be there. So I booked it as soon as I possibly could, and then figured out the cost later. But it's about half, I think, of our budget. The trip is the hotel room. So But yeah, so we did secure the hotel, and so that's there. And then we definitely also are. I know I'm starting to procure some food for the trip with different. Trying not to stress my bank account too much by getting a whole shitload of food right out of the bag. And I think, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the logistics at the moment.
Yeah.
We have some other logistic concerns we'll talk about here in a minute. But how about you? Where are you at in this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to think of like what gear pieces I definitely want to bring. I'm lucky enough that I have quite a few different tents and pads and everything. So I'm kind of like, what's the perfect like happy place between comfort and lightweight? So that's kind of like, I don't have a written out gear list by any means just yet. That's something I like to do. It's something I'll probably do as we get a little bit closer, but that's something that I've really started to think about is like, all my current tents are either semi-freestanding or fully freestanding. I don't have any trekking pole tents, and I think that would be a decent way to drop a few ounces or even a pound from my base weight. So that might be something I end up trying to pick up here in the coming months, and then obviously have to test it out and make sure I know what I'm doing with it before we go on this trip.
Oh yeah. Nothing more exciting than new gear. Also, nothing more intimidating than new gear. The quickest way to humble yourself as a backpacker is try to set up a new tent for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I also am doing a new tent on this trip, and that kind of goes in with our first question tonight from Huck, which is, what shelters are you guys choosing for this trip? And as we have just figured out, you are kind of undecided. Is there anything you're kind of leaning towards
at the moment? Of the current tents I have, the one that I'm leaning most towards is probably the Tigerwall UL1 Big Agnes. I've used it quite a few times. I'm surprised at how roomy it is for being a one-person tent. It comfortably fits any of the pads that I might take. And on top of all that, it's the lightest weight tent that I currently own. So that's nice. If I end up not picking up something new, that's probably what I'll go with.
Nice. Well, as I mentioned, I did make one big gear change for this trip, tentatively. Interestingly enough, I felt, so I'm in the Durston tent. I guess you could say cult. A lot of people refer to it as the cult. I own a Durston X Mid 2, and I do love that tent. I freely admit that. But when I admitted to a couple of my other friends who, especially our buddy Phantom, who also has the same tent because of me, scoffed at the idea that I was getting another tent for this. And the reason why I decided to go with a different tent is I love the X Mid, but I am very aware that it has a large real estate footprint. Because of the way most tarp tents are designed, most trekking pole tents are designed, they take up a lot of floor space. And so I was really concerned because I know some of the places we're going to be at, camping spaces are kind of at a premium. And I was really concerned that I wasn't going to be able to fit this rather large tent into some of those places. I'd probably be okay, but it just seems like something that I definitely wanted to kind of prepare for. And so in preparation, I discussed a lot of things with a lot of people and talked to my good buddy Devin from Backcountry Exposure. I still think it's cool that I'm friends with him. We decided to come to the idea that I went ahead and got a tarp tent dipole one-person double wall. So it's not the Dyneema version because it's really not a huge weight difference, but it is still poly, which is something that I would definitely wanted. But what I like about this one is it's got enough room as a one person to fit somebody who, like me, it's a little bit larger. It has a double door, double vestibule, which I've never seen in a single wall or single person tent before. I'm sure others exist, but I personally just haven't, experienced it. But having the two miniature poles at the ends to help kind of act as a lift to create more livable space, it is surprisingly livable with a relatively small footprint. However, like you, I have to practice with this tent. I set it up once or twice when I first got it, and I sucked at it. And so, one of the worst mistakes I think hey, Harry, speak of the devil, backcountry exposure. How's it going, Devin? Thanks for coming out. So I have in the past fallen into the trap of going, oh, I've set up tents before. I can just set this up on the first trip, and then you spend the entire time fumbling around with it. And I definitely look like an amateur trying to set up this tent, but I'll get there. So definitely, looking forward to using that tent. But that is definitely another logistical concern, is making sure that the gear that I've selected for this is stuff that I'm going to be able to use pretty readily, because we're going to be doing some pretty big days. I think we're going to be averaging 10 to 12 miles, which doesn't sound like a lot, but given the amount of up and down we have and the fact that we have 10 passes from start to finish, there's probably going to be a few evenings I'm not going to want to mess around too much with a tent. So definitely, looking forward to that. So, and a little bit of X-Mid love here. X-Mid. Woo! From Salmon Outdoors there. So that is definitely the shelter that I'm planning on using. So, and if it's not, if it doesn't work out too well, I only have Devin to blame. All right. So let's go to one of the questions that was asked before. So I put out a thing asking for questions from people. I didn't get a lot, but I got a few. And the first one was, what are resupply points going to be? So we're doing 3 resupplies. I think that's the current plan. The first one is going to be as we cross the Boulder River, which will be the first kind of passing of a slight civilization on the trip. Although that road that's particularly there is more of a double wide trail than it is a road. But we are definitely going to be resupplying there. The second resupply is actually going to be at Cook City, and that one we are going to mail to the hotel. And also there is a general store there, which we can buy fuel and stuff if we need that. And then the third one is going to be at East Rosebud. The person who is going to be dropping that off may be pulling double duty if the bridge is not finished on that particular part of the trail. And if it's not, he's going to have to hike a pack raft up to us in order to get across the lake. And part of me is like, I really don't necessarily want to do this. I would hope that the bridge is there. I don't have to worry about it. But also part of me thinks that it would make it even more epic of a trip if we had a pack raft experience involved. So, I'm a decent paddler, but I'm always a little bit intimidated going into those. So, So any follow-ups or adds on to the resupply question there?
Nothing that comes to mind. No. I mean, along with logistics of the resupply and stuff, just thinking about everything that we'll have to be putting in there. I was just thinking about this the other day, is like, I don't want to run out of toilet paper, and 12 to 14 full days is a lot of toilet paper. So I'm going to have to remember to put some of that in those resupplies.
That's actually a really good point. I hadn't even thought of that.
Just little things like that. I'm like, what all do we need to put in these resupply spots?
Yeah, because you've never done a resupply trip before, have you?
No, I've done some week-long trips, but I've brought everything with me on those that I've gone on. So big loop trips or long point-to-point spots. So.
Admittedly, I have only done one trip that was a resupply, and interestingly enough, it was in Cook City. It was the exact same scenario. It's part of the reason why I chose this hotel, is because last time they let us mail a package to them and they held it for us. It was Phantom and I. And of course, I did have some guidance from him because of his experience on the long trails. Also, he basically told me that I was way overthinking it, which is definitely something I tend to do. But yeah, it is going to be interesting to, I'm trying to plan out my meals, and I know for each resupply, I'm picking at least one comfort meal just so I can make it through that. So those are going to be our resupplies. And let's see here, get caught up with the conversations happening, because again, like I said, I kind of suck at doing this. Backcountry Exposer, I appreciate the level of detailed planning behind this trip. I learned from you, good buddy. I definitely enjoy planning trips. I also am cognizant that most of my plan goes right out the window the moment we start hiking the trip, and I don't anticipate this being any different. But we definitely have been kind of focusing on it. One of the interesting aspects of this is that we put in, I think, 2 more years of planning into this trip than was expected because of the flooding event. We had come up with the route. I had come up with the route just before that. And of course, that interrupted a big portion of the trail that we're on, which they're still actively rebuilding, and is why we might have to use a pack raft. But that definitely gave us a little bit more time to kind of sink into this. And we still have a lot of planning to do between now and then, which, we will be documenting as part of this. I think this is part of the whole process. So we'll definitely be doing more of these as long as people keep showing up, which tonight, so far, they have. All right, Salmon Outdoors definitely had to represent the Canada guys. He's up in Canada as well. And, Salmon, there's still a lot of us down here that love you guys up there. So just going to throw that out there. And my good buddy Snack Box has showed up. He has always been a great supporter of the channel, and probably late because of kid duty, I'd imagine, but glad he made it. And then, of course, everybody had to say hi to him because he's pretty much like, everybody's best friend. So I don't know why he hangs out with a bum like me. But, yeah. All right. So any questions you guys have, please don't hesitate to ask them because I don't really have a plan beyond that. And then the second part of that question about the resupplies was, what is your go-to dinner on trail? I know what your go-to lunch is on trail, which is your damn bagel sandwiches that make everybody drool.
I don't know if I'm going to do those on this trip, though, just knowing how much they weigh. Yeah. I think I'll probably bring tortillas, salami, and maybe some of those cheese packets that I always bring. But my dinner, my dinner, too. It's the Peak Refuel beef stroganoff. Is like, I'll probably have one of those in every resupply. I just love them, never get tired of them. There's quite a few other good meals, but the other big thing I'm thinking about doing, I know I've had some on longer trips when I'm using dinners only of those dehydrated meals. My gastrointestinal world gets a little distressed, so I'm debating doing some home dehydrating. And I know you've done some videos on that and stuff in the past, but trying to figure out some different ways to do that and hopefully test that out and see if that's a little bit easier on my gut in the long term.
Yes. Yeah. Those definitely is an issue, especially as I get older. I will be the first to admit, especially on this trip, I'm taking the lazy route on this, and I am doing just freeze-dried meals, just for simple get through it. For me, my go-to is the Hatch Green Chili Mac and Cheese by Backpacker Pantry. It's like the perfect size, and it's just like, I've never not felt good, better about things after eating one of those meals. So I also have one of those in each of my resupplies. So at least 3 nights on the trip, I'll have that, possibly more. So yeah, that's kind of my go-to. Excuse me. It's coming fast and furious now. Tangent Trails, stay strong, Canada. Amen. Huck Outdoors, any fishing along the way? This is your, I think, your take on things. I know you are planning or possibly carrying some a Tenkara ride, I think, right?
Yep. I think I'll probably go away from my traditional fly rod setup just for weight savings more than anything, and look into a Tenkara rod. At the moment I'm planning on bringing it. I can't foresee a reason I wouldn't. But yeah, I'm hoping to fish any and all lakes, any and all streams we pass, as long as we aren't in like a time crunch or too much of a hurry. My other thought is maybe bringing some foil and oil and trying to do a fish fry one night or something. So
fancy. I'm probably going to be just like dead to the world by the time we get done hiking, and just, trying to stay awake long enough to put my food away. This sounds really interesting to me, and I am very curious to try this now. So Salmon Outdoors, a little life-changing hack. I chopped up dill pickles to the beef stroganoff. It sounds weird, but I promise it's life-changing. Your eyes will be opened. He's never steered me wrong before, so I feel like I'm gonna have to add a dill pickle to the because I'm gonna have at least one of those stroganoffs with me. So, all right, Devin has asked a question here. He says, "What is one thing you're looking forward to the most from this route?" Do you want me to answer this one first? Because I've been kind of throwing you under the bus for that.
No, I mean, the first thing that jumps to mind is actually making it up to the lake plateau. That now that I've tried 2 different times, and both times for weather reasons. One time because it snowed out, and the other time because it was darn near flooding again. We haven't made it up there. So, admittedly, both of those times are pretty early in the season. I think both were in like early June or something like that. So I'm hoping middle to late July timing will make it much more doable. So that might be the thing I'm most looking forward to. But it's the trip as a whole, I'm really, really looking forward to. It's hard to pick it down to just one thing.
Yeah, I agree. It is difficult, and I keep seeing more and more like photos from areas that I haven't done of the trip yet because I've done some of it, and just blown away by how beautiful these places that I've never seen before really are, and wondering why I haven't checked them out yet. So it's really tough to kind of narrow it down. I think for me, it's going to be more of the ethereal type things with it. For one, it's going to be, I think I'm looking forward to the most is really challenging myself to be able to kind of get through this really big trip, because this is by far going to be one of the most strenuous things that I've ever done. And then on top of that, I'm really looking forward to just experiencing what it's like to really be able to remove myself for more than just a few days at a time, actually being able to kind of disconnect for an extended period. And it's not going to all be easy, but I think, in the end that reward is going to be so huge. I'm thinking to myself, and I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse because I don't know, we haven't done it yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how different it feels to do Sundance Pass after this trip, because that'll be the last pass that we do. And I just feel like it's just, I'm so curious to see how different it's going to hit after having that long kind of hike up to it. So, but yeah, I mean, just the opportunity to get away from everything with, a good friend, and just, do something that I've never done, and as best I can tell, nobody else has either yet. And just, gotta take it one day at a time, but I'm definitely looking forward to the challenge. All right. Outside comfort zone. Stroganoff, getting a little loose with the language. That splashing sound you heard was Snack Box's brain hitting the gutter, as usual. That's why we love him. All right. Got some Hatch green chili love from the guy down south there, of course. All right. Sorry, I'm getting caught up here. Peanut butter plus ramen equals poor man's pad thai. I have definitely had that and do approve. And I might actually do that on the trail. I haven't yet decided yet. Got some Tenkara love here. So easy to break out quick, especially on breaks.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to you fishing, because it's going to be an excuse for me not to do anything while you're fishing.
Yeah. Well, I'm familiar with the Tenkara, but I've never really fished with it, at least backpacking before. I've only ever borrowed from a friend who had one. So I'm real interested just to learn. There's not too much difference between that and a traditional rod, but it's really hard to forget the reel on a Tenkara. It's actually impossible, and I've done that before. So
you never did that.
Yeah, I've forgotten reels. I've forgotten flies. I've forgotten just about everything except for the rod itself. So having that all kind of condensed into one should be hopefully a lot easier.
I would certainly hope that nobody who you've ever been hiking on would make fun of you for doing that.
No, I don't know. I don't know why anyone would. But yeah, no, I'm excited to test out a Tenkara.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up here. Awesome. Tenkara is so easy to break out. Crucially intrigues. Salmon said, fuck, you do a lot of backcountry fishing, eh?
A little bit.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
My full-time job also allows for a lot of fishing. I travel around uh, our part of the state a lot, and I just keep a fly rod in the back of my truck. And anytime I see a decent little river, I pull over and do some fishing. So
he's got posters of a river runs through it on his walls in his house. I've seen him,
yeah,
especially Brad Pitt. Definitely
yeah.
lots of Brad Pitt love there.
Mm-hmm.
Outside comfort zone. Getting serious again. How are you planning to manage batteries for your filming? That is a good question. For me, I use a GoPro, which I know is sacrilege for some people out there, but for me, it works really well. And the batteries are pretty small, so I generally carry about 5 or so. Anyways, so I have not yet, even with week-long trips, have had to actually recharge batteries on trail before. That said, I am carrying a battery bank. And I do think that when we are in Cook City, I may actually mail my you can charge the GoPro battery through the GoPro itself. But you can also, there's also a cradle charger that charges 2 batteries at once. And I may mail that to myself in Cook City so that I can just charge everything up a little bit easier while we're there. But, it's a little bit of a weight sacrifice, but I think that for the ease of it, the batteries don't weigh a whole lot. So I'll probably just carry multiple batteries and then change them out. I know you were planning on bringing a GoPro on this trip as well. Do you have, what's your plan?
Similar to you, I'll bring a battery bank. I'm debating bringing 2. It seems like a lot of weight, but I want to make sure my inReach is charged up, my phone stays charged up, and if I bring a GoPro, I want that to be charged the whole time as well. I've never filmed any adventure stuff before, so I'm kind of relying on you to let me know what I should think of as far as batteries and all that fun stuff. I don't know how much I'm going to be shooting, but we'll be away from light pollution for the whole time. So I'd like to do some time lapse of the night and stuff like that. And I'm sure that's pretty battery intensive. So, yeah.
So apparently, Salmon Outdoors comment was supposed to be, Huck, do you do a lot of outdoor backcountry fishing instead of what we said? Because of course, this is of course where my mind went. I thought it was a funny comment. So yeah, Huck, do you do a lot of? There's a lot of conversation. I'm trying to skip through it. Gotta get Huck to lend you his GoPro 10 so you can get homesick time lapse. Get some sick night time lapses on your hike. I have a GoPro 10. I don't need to borrow Huck's. Wow, there is an exciting conversation going on that is not involving either of us, and I am way behind on it. I don't know how Snackbox does these things. So you'll need the entire battery bank for one night time lapse. I mean, not the ones I've done, like not unless you do it like all night long. But I guess maybe. All right, Snackbox, are you using like enduro batteries or the regular batteries? I guess would be my question. All right, I didn't see any other questions in there, but I think a lot of stuff got lost in the conversation about hiking, fishing, and what Salmon Outdoors did or didn't say. ADHD baby, and yeah, I do them all night. Okay. Yeah, I just do them for a couple hours because I'm lazy and I don't feel like leaving my camera out. All right. So there's another question that I got. I'm not seeing anything else. So I'm putting you guys on blast here if you don't do any more questions. So someone asked, have I thought about making my Garmin map share page public and known ahead of time so fans can see how it's going? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm big enough to have to worry about YouTube stalkers yet or not. So the short answer to that is I honestly don't know. I hadn't thought about it. I don't think that I am of the stature where I have to worry about some psycho showing up in the middle of the backcountry and murdering us at night. Although, snack box potentially, but another story. So yeah, I honestly hadn't thought about it. So I don't know. What do you think? Should we?
I think it'd be cool. I
Okay.
don't see why not. I could see my mother really liking being able to look on the website and see exactly where we are.
We're gonna have to tell your mother where we are at any time, anyways,
Yeah.
because if she's not tracking you down, she'll track me down.
Yeah.
I think that's a requirement. Nobody on my side cares. They're like, okay, just let us know when you show back up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but yeah, so I don't know. We'll think about it. Maybe I'll do a poll and see what people think. If people would people want to watch us as we go through this trip? I don't. Maybe I don't know. Any of you guys want to comment if you think you would want to see where we're at, and maybe notice if we haven't moved for like 3 days in a row. I don't know. The conversation seems to have slowed down a little bit. So my question to Jared or Snackbox was about batteries. Is it regular batteries that only last like 30 to 45 minutes? The time lapse, full night long night lapse give a lot of great shots. I definitely believe that. I've actually started using the Enduro batteries because they do last longer, but I also don't do that long overnighters. So, yep. Does Chad know where you're going? Hell no. Why would I tell that guy anything? That guy is the bane of my existence. I can't stand him. He's been insufferable lately. He's been so bad that I've banned him from the channel, at least for a while. I don't know. I think I need to do some more Chad stuff. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a Chad cameo on the trip. I think this means I got to bring extra shit with me though.
Yeah.
So, all right. Huck says Enduros work much better. I agree. I think that's the reason why now all of the batteries are Enduro. I don't even think they make the older batteries anymore.
For the new 13, I think everything now.
Yep. Yeah. So get this. I've got a GoPro 10, and this guy here is going to get a GoPro 13. And I'm thinking to myself, great. So you're going to have a better camera than the director of the damn video.
Don't worry, I'll share footage with you.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to share anything with you.
Fair.
All right, 37 minutes in, and we are getting sidetracked. So I don't have any other questions from online, but I did have a couple of things I wanted to kind of throw out here. So these are kind of questions to you from me. Sure. What do you think our top 3 logistical challenges are going to be?
Oh, number one is the timing. Making sure with having a reservation in Cook City, making sure that we hit that time window exactly, or close to exactly. It'd be better to be early, obviously, than late. But yeah, I think that's going to be just figuring out the timing, making sure we've got, we're getting to the places we need to on time. Next logistic challenge, making sure you got the right nutrition. With something like this, I've never gone this far, and I don't know how physically and mentally I'm going to feel towards the end. So making sure that we're taking care of nutrition early and making sure that everything's figured out so we can make it through the long haul. I've never had an issue with that in the past, but some of that longer trip we did through the Cloud Peak that last day, it wasn't an energy issue. It was a knee issue that was bugging me more than anything. So I guess that's the last thing I would think is the physicality, making sure that, stretch, your cardio's up, your leg strength is ready. Everything's physically as ready as possible. And I think the rest of the pieces will fall into place, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been up at night already, and we still have 5-6 months to go. Yeah. I have lost sleep over the making sure that I have the right date set for the damn hotel room. And I've crunched the numbers, and I'm 98% sure, but there's that 2% of me that's just what if I screwed this up royally? And I'm sure we'll work it out, but like that's definitely something that's keeping me up at night a little bit. And then yeah, also the physicality. Like I said, I have already begun doing like squats and lunges
Mhm.
and crunches and all of the, for me, I think the strength training, because I have pretty good cardio, even though I'm
Mhm.
fat. I'm a really in shape fat. Um, Middle-aged 45-year-old male fat. Um, I ran a half marathon, for crying out loud, in 2.5 hours. I think I'm okay, but I definitely have felt like my overall leg strength has suffered because I focused solely on cardio to get through that god blessed race. And so because of that, I feel like I'm in a deficit there. So I'm definitely trying to keep on top of that. And then the other one that I have is something we haven't really discussed much about, which is we're applying for a grant,
Mm.
an adventure grant from an outdoors brand, which will remain anonymous at the moment. And part of that is we have to do a budget. I have never done a budget for a backpacking trip. I don't even know how to start.
Mhm.
So that's probably something I'm overthinking. I don't know. I'll probably have to get Snack Box's help on that because I'm sure he's done something like that before. But who knows? All right, Tails and Trails. That's a great question. What footwear are we all taking? I am probably going to stick with my Topos.
Mhm.
I think I'm going to go with a different model. I think it's the Venture, I think, or something. I can't remember which one it is. But I definitely have had really good luck with the Topos. I don't anticipate changing that any.
Yeah.
How about you?
The Solomon, I think it's the XA Pros 8. Uh, if memory serves, that's what the model is. But the past 2 seasons, that's what I've done most of my backpacking in, and I've really, really liked those. Um, Comfortable underfoot, enough support. They're the ankle height, and I don't do the waterproof version for summer stuff. I don't feel like I need a Gore-Tex liner. So, yeah,
Gore-Tex. Ever since I stopped using Gore-Tex, my feet have thanked me so much.
yeah.
They cause so many more problems than
Oh,
they
yeah,
they
no,
solve.
I mean, my big trip we did over in the Cloud Peak, I had those Gore-Tex boots, and I had a pretty darn gnarly case of athlete's foot when I was done,
Yeah.
and that was with airing my feet out every night for a good hour at least. So,
Oh, we smelled.
oh yeah,
I've had so many near fights over that whole thing in the shop
hmm
with customers that just
yeah,
like, oh, you got to have waterproof. No, I
no,
don't want it. Don't
yeah,
even think about it. That's just me. All right. I have to agree with Snackbox here. As a bigger dude with great cardio, I prefer the term avocado. I am healthy fat. I'll second that motion. That is definitely a term that I will have to remember. Healthy fat. All right. Are you bringing any new gear on the trip? We know
me,
we talked a little bit about shelters, but what about other gear?
yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I think I'm going to go tried and true on pretty much everything else, stuff that I've used for a while. As far as new gear, I guess you can count a GoPro. This will be my first big trip bringing something like that. So, uh, yeah, I guess that would be a new piece of gear. And then maybe, like I said, maybe I'll upgrade my tent to something a little lighter. But everything else, I'm going to go with stuff I'm real familiar with.
Yeah, I think so too. It takes out a little bit of the guesswork. Of course, for me, the big one obviously being the tent. There's a couple other small things. The bear spray holder
Mm,
strap.
yeah,
I haven't backpacked with it yet, but just like I said, smaller things there.
yeah.
So, all right. If anybody else has any questions, now's the time. We're going to do this last call thing because I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
And I just don't know that I have anything else. And my jokes are probably falling flat at this point, and our numbers are dwindling. So, yeah. Any other questions out there? Any other things you're dying to know, even if they're inappropriate? I'm looking at you, Snackbox. Seeing none. None. Nope. Nope. All right. Any parting words or last things you want to add to it, Connor? Hot
No,
pants.
I'm excited to continue the planning process. I mean, so to a degree, you can only beat a dead horse so much, but every time we start talking about it, there's always this new little detail that comes up. So I'm excited to keep that going and uh, hopefully get out on a few other small trips, some shakedown stuff before But otherwise, yeah, no, I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, this is a break from reality. Life is going through some changes right now, mostly good, but there's always stress involved with that. And so I'm just kind of using this as a break from that reality, and just fun to talk shop, I think, and, it seems like people are interested, at least so far. I guess we'll have to see what the next one does. We're getting a little bit of love here. So Huck says it was fun tonight. Thanks, Huck. I really appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you. Doc Watson, it was a great chat, or good chat. Also, really appreciate it. I really appreciate everybody's support, and I think because of you guys, we're going to get through this hike. I feel like I have a legion of people that I would let down if I didn't get through it. So, thanks again, everybody, for coming out. Thanks, Connor, for taking your time and joining in. And yeah, let's see. Great time by Tana Trails. Looking forward to the next one. So yeah, me too, actually. We'll figure out when that's going to be. And, hopefully as we get more into it, we'll do a couple videos too about our actual process of what we're doing and getting food selected and all that. So that's probably the next thing I think we might talk about would be food.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe we'll come up with something between now and then, but all right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining in, and everybody have a great night.